welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode, I'll be discussing the 2022 period action movie, The Princess, as directed by Van Kiet. Sort of like a mix between the 2011 Indonesian action movie, The Reid, in reverse, and crossed with a little bit of die-hard, medieval style. The Princess features, well, a princess, as played by Joey King, who has been entrapped in the tallest tower of her family's castle estate by the tyrannous Julius, as played by Dominic Cooper, looking to seek control of the family's kingdom for himself. But this ain't no fairy tale. This princess isn't about to burst out into song or await a knight in shining armour to come to her rescue, or true love's first kiss. As the princess to the kingdom, it is up to her to find a way to the bottom of the tower and prove her rightful place. And let's just say, she's got some serious skills and nerves of steel. The princess certainly holds her own against the might of Julius's forces, often with brutally gruesome results, using her knowledge of the castle's secrets and her extensive combat training to prove she has what it takes to bring down Julius and restore her family's rightful place on the throne. Now, I must admit, going into this movie, I thought it was a horror. Not sure why, not really sure what I was expecting, to be honest. Something akin to Prom Night, perhaps. But I must say, once it kind of got into the throes of its singularly aimed plot, I was fairly pleasantly surprised to find out what we had was, in the end, a kind of female-led medieval die-hard. Again, don't expect this to be all singing, all dancing, whilst the princess makes use of the local wildlife to carry out the daily chores. This is not the fairy tale adventure one might expect from the title. In fact, no, this couldn't be further from that idea if it tried, and given its extensive brutality, it's certainly not one for the kids. Definitely an alternative to the usual princess fare. I did actually enjoy the medieval flair that we did have here. You know, it could be a bit too much at times, and I'm not sure there was any kind of real historical accuracy at play here, but it was just brutal enough to give it just that little bit of an extra kick that it needed, you know? Given the fact that the film has one singular premise, the plot is admittedly thin on the ground, and the film never really does much to kind of add or bolster this. We do have an amount of backstory, but this is mostly just to justify how a princess, supposedly who has led a sheltered life, and who is probably 1/3 of the size of most of her attackers, can actually pull off some of the moves she does right from that get-go. The treatment overall was a bit simplistic, and dialogue was more or less routine. It fitted with the movie's basic premise, but don't expect anything too taxing or thought-provoking. Most of the cast come across like they're reading the next line from a cue card behind the scenes. So admittedly, it's not going to win any prizes there. The movie had a singular idea and ran with it full Iron Maiden, for better and for worse at times, but unwavering nonetheless, and credit in that where it's due. Mostly, it's a pantomime. I can't argue that. I really didn't find myself hating Dominic Cooper's character all that much. A bit of a sap at times, but nothing more overtly evil than we may have seen in a Disney movie before. Now, his henchman, or rather henchwoman, Moria, as played by Olga Kurylenko, now there was a force to be reckoned with, bruising some pretty cool armoury as well. But sadly, Cooper's character was pretty mediocre for the most part against the rest of the talent the movie had to offer, which kind of offset the balance somewhat, you know? It's a shame as well, as there was scope for a kind of real evil kind of villain. Something more befitting of an R-rated movie such as this was really needed, I think. Now, Joey King certainly carries the movie full force. The focus is mostly on her throughout, and she does a decently charismatic job at holding our attention and making us believe in her character's spirit and the ordeal that she endures. Plenty of times she more than makes us feel the pain, you know? She certainly puts in the overtime as we relentlessly and almost seamlessly, bar for a few cutaway scenes explaining how she got into this situation in the first place, move from fight to fight on a non-stop carousel of sword, yielding, bludgeoning, melee mayhem. There was some practicality to it too, you know. Here was no Rapunzel or Sleeping Beauty. This princess had the moves for sure, and watching her get ever more battle ready, not accepting defeat, you know, nor the hand to any man, was quite an uplifting and kind of rousing experience all told. Occasionally funny with a mixture of dark and kind of observational wit. It was pretty much predictable to a T, but a fun movie nonetheless. Once I knew what I was actually in for, the movie kind of pretty much levelled out at where I would expect. It doesn't ask you to think, and in return, it provides plenty of action, some pretty decent choreography, some outright gory moments, and some cool medieval weapons. The fight sequences are well designed and certainly tons of fun, you know. This is, to be fair, basically what the film is about. As usual, there is a queue forming of willing participants instead of kind of everybody just kind of getting in there, stuck in, but they do find some creative ways to kind of work with that castle surroundings that adds a different dimension every now and again. Overall, what can I say? If you're looking for a movie that has little in the way of plot, but some pretty decent action sequences, crazy medieval weapons, and plenty of blood, then this is certainly going to be worth your time. If not, then I would probably give it some distance, you know? With little plot to really kind of speak of, it is really just one long fight scene when all's said and done. Dumb, perhaps, in some respects, but definitely an easy digest. And you know what? I ain't complaining. There's a time and a place for films like this, you know? It has fun with its singular premise. It's a bit tacky in places, no doubt, and it probably isn't going to rank as one of the best action films of all time. There are plenty out there that this takes from, you know, and they do it miles better. But I can't deny that I did find myself entertained, and I think the film pretty much accomplishes what it sets out to do. So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions, and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you at SciFirst MovieTalk, and definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.